Oh, it's pretty crazy. I mean, the city's pretty boned, eh? It's a lot of damage, and it's kind of hard for the people. Like, I mean, like we lost a lot of buildings, but the people are really shaken up, and that's really the hard bit. Yeah, a lot of people are worried about what's going to happen, and yeah.
And how are the chemical toilets going for you?
Gross. I wouldn't use them. No way.
Why do you think everybody wants chemical toilets instead of composting toilets?
I don't know. I think it's insanity. I think it's regulations. That's what the regulations say. We need to keep them safe and clean and sterile. But it's not going to be any good for Christchurch. It's not good for the environment. It's not good for people. Yeah, I think it'd be a great chance to teach people about composting toilets.
Alright, so it's a couple of weeks now since the second earthquake in Christchurch, which smashed the place over quite spectacularly. I'm going to go down to Christchurch and have a little look and see what's going on. Christchurch is my hometown, and yeah, I want to see what's going on the ground in Christchurch. I've just been met at the door of the emergency centre by somebody who took me inside and hooked me up with the people that I wanted to talk to find out what I needed to know about the council position on composting toilets. Just had a good chat with Tim Joyce. And he's a lovely fella, and he explained to me the whole reasoning behind using chemical toilets and not composting toilets, but at the same time they're totally open to people being better informed.
Oh, don't take a picture of the people in there.
No. I just got busted for taking a picture of myself, but I wasn't, because I thought I was taking a picture of something else. Anyway, yeah, so onwards I'm going to make a little clip and hopefully encourage a few people or educate a few people about the other options to deal with sewage. How's your toilet going?
Great. I've made a quantum step up. I'm now using coffee grounds from the local coffee roastery instead of sawdust to mix with the turds, if you like, for the deposits, and the place smells like a coffee roastery. The coffee is brilliant. It's an aphrodisiac for the worms, so the worms go ballistic in the compost toilet mix and decompose it, recycle it, process it way faster. And the pleasure is when you go to make a deposit in the compost toilet, it's like being in a coffee shop. You just breathe in and it's like, sweet. Before we used to use eucalypt and Lawson cypress and things, which the flies hate, so you don't get any fly issues in the compost toilet. But now it's upgraded to the next level, which is having the sweet smell of coffee while you're making your deposit. So things just keep getting better and better.
So you mean to tell me that you don't feel degraded or embarrassed using a composting toilet?
Oh no, it's the best ever, and the bonus is all you do is just do your dailies there, add a bit of coffee grounds or sawdust or wood shavings or whatever. About a year later, at the what you call it, the hatch down below, you take out finished compost that has no smell, no appearance of what went in at the other end. And whatever I've put that around, say for instance my blueberry plants, have doubled in size and doubled in quantity. So it's kind of too simple for most people to get, but we're the top end of the food chain, and so our waste product, if you want to call it that, our shit, is also the top end of the fertilizer chain. And if you're happy to work, which is like 1 day a year, it takes me about 4 hours to empty out the compost from say 5 or 10 people. It's sweet smelling, it has no resemblance to the original ingredients, and it brings up the fertility level to the max. So, you know, is that too difficult for people? I mean, the system we have now is to dilute it with our precious water, which we're running short of, put it into septic tanks, which is anaerobic. It doesn't decompose, it just sort of sludges up, overflows, pollutes the groundwater below. As we waste our nutrients, we pollute the groundwater and we call it civilized. And then, in the case of Christchurch and other places where sewerage pipes and water pipes are next to each other and they rupture in an earthquake, you have a mixture of shit and water, and liquefaction brings that up. So it's just like kids go play in the sewerage in the front yard. It's like, well, it's not so very civilized at all. And for some reason there's a stigma about compost toilets that they're smelly and they're this and they're that, and it's like, well, mine smells of coffee, which is quite a nice smell for me. I really enjoy that, but you can dial it up to whatever smell you want with whatever sawdust you want. and you are then part of a closed loop cycle of fertility.
I read in the paper the other day that what we've got happening at the moment, national state of emergency,
Yep.
there's apparently an international shortage of chemical toilets due to the Christchurch earthquake, and there are 20,000 new chemical toilets being manufactured offshore in China at the moment to meet the need of the Christchurch people. How about that?
It's kind of dinosaur thinking without being really rude. It's like it's trying to fix the problem using the same mentality that created the problem, you know, mixing it with chemicals, mixing it with water, still having to take it to treatment plants, transport it, ship it, move it around, and then waste the resource. It's backwards. It just is destined for failure. We've got to go lateral now and come up with new systems that do work, that are sustainable, and one would hope that any kind of imaginative, creative, intelligent local government would produce or source composting toilets at cost and suggest or even request new home builders to install them. You know, even if it's as a backup to the other system, because when you run out of water, you run out of flushability. If you have a compost toilet in place, there's no problem. I mean, as I said, mine's a sort of larger one that I built myself based on a model, but it will hold the deposits from 10 people for a year, and it will take me 4 hours in that year to empty it out and put it around my plant. So it's super user-friendly, it's super, like, totally contained. In your worst-case disaster, your sewage is actually contained. It's a real simple solution, and, you know, we have to come to terms with everything that we do affects us, so why not take it to the highest level of recycling and abundance and fertility, because that's going to be huge issues in the future. I mean, with climate change, we're already looking at crop failures, and if you have a crop failure in Russia, that means the wheat harvest is gone, that means blah-de-blah all the way down the line, and unless you can be totally self-sufficient, or more and more towards self-sufficient and eco-responsible in your own household, then you're just part of the problem. You're part of the vulnerability, you're part of the difficulty that is already facing us and will probably accelerate as time proceeds. So you've got to go direct to the solution. It's time for lateral thinking, not linear thinking. You've got to go direct to the solution. You've got to initiate new ways of being across the spectrum of how humans live on this planet to make it totally sustainable, totally abundant, and in my case, totally delicious. It's like, you know, shit in the coffee-flavored toilet and have monster-sized blueberries for breakfast. You know, is it that hard?